we were tasked with removing a chimney stack from loft level down. We weren't allowed to touch the top level when we went through the roof. We weren't allowed to disturb the skyline, and so it had to come down from this point just in the loft right the way down to the floor. That of course is a structural alteration, and for a structural alteration we need building regulation approval, which we sought and we got. The suggestion from the building regulation department and our architect was, rather than a gallows bracket, which you can read about all over the web, I'm sure, we don't like them very much, but it was suggested to us that we put in an RSJ, a rolled steel joist, from the load bearing wall on the outside of the property over to my far right into the adjoining chimney stack, which of course also goes all the way down to the ground. So we have this beam effectively is supported at ground level, so it's placed on walls that are supported by the ground. So we're transferring the weight of this stack all the way down to the ground, which is what the regs require. Okay, to do that we had to remove a section of the stack before we took out anything underneath. Remove a section of the stack and insert the beam. If you want to know how to do that, you can look at our project on forming openings in load bearing walls. Have a look at that on the DIY Doctor website, you'll see how we did that. Then we had the beam made, and as you can see over on my right, on your left, the beam kinks, and it kinks down to the load bearing wall, up so that it goes over the joists. Because of the pitch of the roof, the finish of the load bearing wall is below the level of the top of these ceiling rafters. So there's a kink in the joist, and it comes right across over the a kink in the rolled steel joist, the RSJ. It runs right along to this wall here where it's supported by the chimney stack. Underneath both supporting ends there are concrete pad stones. That's blocks of concrete. The one on that side was cast in situ. You'll need to talk to your building inspector about that. We cast a pad stone on the top of the wall to spread the load of that RSJ as it sat on the wall. And this one here, we can get a close-up of the pad stone underneath the end of that RSJ. Okay, it's a minimum of 6 inches bearing at either end of this RSJ, and that spreads the load across, which allows it to take the weight of this chimney stack. So that's how to hold up a chimney stack. Now of course, once that's held up, the whole lot, everything underneath, is no longer load bearing, so that can be taken down from the top downwards, brick by brick, which we've done. Then we put new joists in the ceiling, patch it, as you'll see in a little moment, patched up the ceilings all the way down to the floor, and that saved us a couple of feet, or saved the owner of the property a couple of feet, all the way from the top bedroom up here through the bedroom downstairs, and that's why I wanted to remove. The fireplace wasn't used anymore. Let's save the space. To finally get building regulation approval on the RSJ supporting the chimney stack, the whole thing needs to be protected for 30 minutes, fire protected, and that's done by cladding it in 12.5mm plasterboard. That's a separate video, cladding a rolled steel joist or an RSJ in plasterboard. How to remove a chimney stack from DIY Doctor.